Hello and welcome to the 10th video in my Detroit Become Human playthrough, and this time we're Connor and Hank, and this is going to be quite a longish clip in two parts. We start off with a very nice human interest kind of element with Connor and Hank getting to know each other a bit better, building the relationship between them. And then it switches to a sort of investigation which gets to be very exciting and really shows off the potential of a kind of QTE driven exciting sequence. And just to comment once more, in the rain this game engine just looks great. I mean, just look at that, it's fabulous. Anyway, this issue of Detroit Becomes Human is going to be made available to the public to celebrate the marriage between two of the actors in Detroit Become Human. So Connor, real name Brian DeChart, I want to say, and one of the androids we'll meet a bit later in the story, played by, in real life, Amelia R. Blair. Anyway, I'll put their Twitter links in the description, and I believe they are getting married tomorrow, so happy day for you guys. Hope you have a great future together, and they also do some great playthroughs as well, so you should go check them out. If you're from the future, don't worry about things, the marriage has happened and all that, but if you're currently a bit confused why I'm at part 10 and you can't see the other parts, well, they're currently locked behind my Patreon paywall. However, there is sort of a 2-3 week delay and then they become available, so don't worry, you will be able to see all the previous videos at some stage. But you know, if you want early access, come over, back me on Patreon. Anyway, I hope you've been reading the subtitles so you've got a bit of context as what's going on. But basically, Connor, he's not so impressed by some of these associations that Hank has. He's also obviously still trying to get a pin on how to work with Hank, because you know he is still Mr. Goody Two Shoes, is Connor, and there's some wonderful acting going on here, and the camera does focus in on it. Now, I'm not sure how much is the original actor versus the digital animators, for example. I don't know if the capture technique captures the eye movements, but there's some great little looks and subtle performance bits in here. And I think Detroit Become Human has lots of these really cool elements like this. Obviously, some of the critics have picked on the more blatant stuff, but you know, get past that. It's a wonderful game, and I do like this sort of slow, thinky human interest side of things, and that's why I find it a bit interesting that we get this very exciting and actually very well done sequence coming up. Now, there is an argument to say, in a slow, thinky, wordy sort of game, do you want high adrenaline scenes? Well, in some ways yes, to offset quieter moments of reflection like this, but equally, you know, if you're the sort of player who likes this slow thinky stuff, you're not necessarily going to like doing lots of random key presses. Equally, if you're the sort of person who likes doing lots of random key presses, you're not going to like this slow thinky stuff. So that is a difficult balancing act for Quantic Dreams, and I think they've got it just about right in this game. It's a nice little balance between kind of doing the action versus doing the reflective stuff.
Cyberlife androids are designed to work harmoniously with humans. Both my appearance and voice were specifically designed to facilitate my integration.
Well, they fucked up.
Maybe I should tell you.
As you can see, Connor's still having a little bit of trouble getting to grips with Hank, but it's slowly getting there. But there's some nice little info here about Deviants, about how they're trying to emulate human emotions, which they don't per se have programmed in. And of course, as it says here, they sort of get a kind of buffer overflow, I guess, where their programming freaks out and they unlock the safety protocols. So I'm assuming there's an inherent assumption that this universe is trying to obey the Asimov you know, rules of robotics. Anyway, we've got a nice little flashback here to the very first mission, which I haven't actually recorded, I'm afraid. Yeah, one of the first missions you do is trying to talk down an android who's up on a a roof with a small child, and that's quite a nice bit. So I might go back and record that at some stage, but obviously it won't be this particular playthrough. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so Asimov's rules of robotics. So, you know, don't harm a human by your inaction, don't harm a human, and don't harm yourself and all that. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that is an assumed kind of law of robotics in this universe as well. And yeah, it's very interesting kind of sci-fi trope of, you know, man creates machines or computer intelligence that then threatens man, and then man either deals with that threat or is overwhelmed by that threat. Anyway, Connor and Hank have now been interrupted by a report of a deviant.
It's a few blocks away. We should go have a look.
So yeah, great little eye look there. Anyway, so Connor's going to go sit in his car, and Hank hopefully will enjoy his meal, and his face indicates maybe he's going to have trouble doing that, because Hank is starting to like Connor a little bit, just a little bit. He doesn't hate me anymore.
Hey, Connor. You run out of batteries
Now,
or what?
I go on about the graphics a lot, but here you get to see some really cool effects like dust motes, lighting, but you also get to see some of the weirdness, like the extreme depth of field, a little bit of kind of weirdness on the texture filtering, I guess. But on the whole, you know, this is a 9.5 out of 10 on the graphics, in my opinion. The gameplay, well, for me, it's a good kind of 8 out of 10, maybe more. For other people, it's going to be too slow, too boring, too cliched. But, you know, I love it. It's a great game, and the fact that you can play through it once in 8 to 10 hours would be a bit disappointed if it wasn't for the sort of replayability. Now, the texture in there is just great. I love that, but it also extreme depth of field at the same time. So we're going to hear a noise which makes it pretty obvious someone is possibly in the room, and we've got to investigate, are they a deviant and what's going on, and that's going to trigger a chase scene which, as I've already mentioned, really puts the engine to good use, and yeah, very good. Now, this is a very freaky thing. It's kind of run down, it's got kind of graffiti all over the walls, and it's full of animals, as we're about to discover when we kick this door down. Yeah, pigeons.
What the fuck is this?
Now the lighting effects in here are great. You got a real feeling of a kind of manky, run-down place, which, yeah, no human's going to be comfortable living here, are they? So Connor's going to work, looking for, you know, clues. What else is going on? So yeah, let's see what we can see, I guess. Now, one thing I did find a bit frustrating on this playthrough is that the control mechanism, as you can see, sometimes doesn't quite go exactly where you want, so you're sort of fiddling to get in just the right position to do stuff. But again, the first time you play this, great things like you open the fridge and it's got no food in. Well, that instantly makes you think Android. We got a Shawshank Redemption sort of nod coming up here in a second. Now, for some reason, I had all sorts of trouble with this poster. Don't know why, but there you go. But when you know where to look for stuff, much easier. So, what's behind the poster? Well, it's a sort of little diary. Now, if they ever bring out a kind of really cool, deluxe collector's edition, like props like this as a real life thing would be really cool additions. So, talking of real life stuff, I would love to get hold of the press kit that came out for this. It's a pretty cool little kind of triangular sort of box with lots of nice little bits inside it. So if Quantic Dreams are watching this and you have a press kit kicking around that you want to send me, I wouldn't object. Anyway, let's wander into the back here, into, I think it's the shower, and we are going to come across a load of graffiti talking about RA9, which seems to be very significant for deviants.
Any idea what it means?
RA9. Written 2,471 times. It's the same sign Ortiz's android wrote.
So as you can see here, little nod to the fact that this is something significant. And the game does some interesting things around RA9, and once you've seen the entire playthrough, you might form an opinion about what is the significance of RA9. So yeah, look, keep an eye out for clues about what that is or isn't, or what it could be. Now, on this chair, I think I had problems with getting it to look for the things, because I come over to the left and I'm pretty sure that's where the clue is, but for some reason it didn't pick up on it. So it might be because I'm just moving too fast. So this is one thing you do need to watch out for with this, and it's a little bit frustrating sometimes, and you think, well, hold on, why is it not picking it up? Come on, I know it's around here somewhere. Oh, lovely. Avian fecal matter. Lovely. Oh, here you go. Now, for some reason, it didn't pick it up, as you can see, so be a bit careful with your button presses. So we've now discovered enough information to do one of Connor's reconstruct modes. And here we go. So, suspect was here, and because we've done that, you'll notice there's a little yellow bit on the timeline. So if we go back, and we can notice that the Deviant was actually in the living room. So something must be going on there. But before we do that, we get another lovely bit of Connor licking some weird fluids, and also discovering the little android kind of temple spinny circle of death thing. So yeah,
You have no idea what I'm talking about.
interesting that, you know, they have this little device in their temple to make it obvious they're an android, but it's quite easy to remove, and then with their little sort of weird kind of clony skin thing, they can cover over that damaged part of their body so that they just look like a human. So anyway, Connor is going to look and see what he can see, and we might discover something, we might not. I think there is the option to fail this mission, although you do have to work at it quite hard. I think I've seen 3 outcomes for this particular mission. So, you know, that this mission does have some nice little variability built into it. Okay, so we found a bird cage, and we're going to reconstruct to find out that the Deviant came from the bathroom, knocked into it, went to the entrance but saw that we were coming, and eventually I will rewind to the relevant bit. And there's a little stool over there that I need to investigate. There it is. And that gives us another unlock. I do love this mode, it's great fun. Anyway, yeah, looks like the Deviant might still be here, and he's hiding up in a crawl space in the roof, so let's go and find them. Oh yeah, he's still here. Okay, so now we get a really cool chase sequence coming up. Now Connor can fail this chase. If you do fail some of these little button presses on some of the options, that can have pretty significant impacts. On others it just delays you a bit, making the Deviant more likely to escape. And as you're running here, as you can see, you can take 2 routes, a slower route or a more risky route, and it's really cool this. It's in my mind a good use of QTE. It actually makes you feel like you're in control of Connor rather than just randomly pressing buttons. So more of this, Quantic Dreams. This bit is really good, dynamic, and I do like the sort of slow-mo stuff. We're going to get a bit of a cool sequence here now coming up, where I think he slides down and jumps through a hole, demonstrating that, you know, these are not humans, these are androids. They're running fast, they're making quick acrobatic moves. Move a cliche 101 coming up. Doors shut, looks through the window to work out where he's going, and this is stunning. Look at this. Is this a field of lavender or something? It's absolutely beautiful, just looks fantastic. Anyway, I lost him here in my first playthrough, but not this one. I'm going to go up the ladder and keep tabs of this guy. he's not getting away from Connor. Now, I am about to fail one of the tests here, so I didn't do it quite right, so I knock into someone, delays me slightly, doesn't have a massive impact on the test, and this is really cool, this bit, sliding down a roof, and then whoop, up and over, and landing, bit of a superhero landing there, and yeah, I agree, Hank, that was pretty impressive. So here we go. Lots of excitement, lots of potential to get things wrong here, and I mean this does actually feel like you're moving at a decent clip of speed actually. For some reason I thought I could leap up there, but apparently you can't, you have to leap up here, so it's not quite perfect, but yeah, very impressed with this sequence, and one of the best bits in the game in my opinion. And I love this multiple paths you can take to try and keep up with the Deviant. And of course each path has multiple little tests to make sure you're not asleep. So here you go, big one coming up here. A little bit of pop in there I thought though, which was not so good. Love running through the corn, you know, the maze here. And we're about to discover that Hank has been a bit clever and found a shortcut. So what do we do? Do we go after the Deviant, which is our primary mission, or do we go after Hank? Now he had a, I don't know, 80% chance of survival, so maybe Connor should have gone after him. After all, he's going to get a bit of softer instability now because he hasn't achieved his objective. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this particular chapter, and in particular this fantastic scene we've just had. And as I said right at the start of the show, best wishes to the happy couple for this weekend, and yeah, go check them out. They've got some really cool live playthroughs of various Quantic Dream games, and you know, join the Connor army. So until the next one, take care and see you for number 11.